on many areas, it's not the Commission that has the expertise, it's the Member States or other international institutions. For instance, in terms of reforming the tax administration and fighting tax evasion, which is one of the cornerstones of the success of the second program for Greece. In these areas, we need experts from the Member States who have hands-on experience on tax collection and fighting tax evasion, because Greece definitely, what Greece needs is an effective and fair tax system, and that's why a tax reform is a core part of the second program of EU-IMF cooperation with Greece.
Thank you. One more question over here.
Hans-Jürgen Moritz, Focus Magazine, Germany. Commissioner, how tall or thick, if you will, do you envision a reinforced firewall to be? And whatever happened to the German reluctance to strengthen that firewall?
As regards the German reluctance or willingness, you have to ask from the representatives of the German government. I can speak on behalf of the European Commission, and our view is that we need to reinforce the European financial firewalls by reinforcing the combined lending capacity of the permanent ESM and the temporary EFSF, preferably so that we can, one way or another, the technical means can be found, combine the agreed 500 billion euros lending capacity of the permanent ESM and the 250 billion euro remaining lending capacity of the EFSF. Thus, we will have I trust the leaders will take this decision. That's our view, at least this decision should be taken. Thus, we will have a reinforced euro area firewall to contain contagion and calm down market turbulence, and it will become even stronger once the IMF can increase its resources, which is also dependent on a European decision to reinforce our own firewalls first, because many of our international partners have said they are ready to contribute to the IMF resource increase, but first the Europeans need to take decisions to show that they are themselves able and willing to reinforce their own financial backstops.
Thank you. Next question up here.
I'm here. Daniel Rosario, Expresso newspaper from Portugal. A question for Commissioner Rehn. Can we assume that what you said on the Irish bonds and the ECB also would apply to Portugal on one hand? On the second hand, if this second program for Greece works the way you expect, and once the situation is stabilized, do you think you could envisage the introduction of some flexibility in the Portuguese adjustment program? This is a moment where more and more voices in Portugal call for at least the introduction of some flexibility in terms of the duration of the length of the adjustment program. Do you think this is possible to envisage sometime later this year, or you completely rule out the need for this flexibility? Thank you.
Concerning private sector involvement, which is the umbrella to which you refer, and Anne Cahill also referred in her previous comment, I repeat, and I will keep on repeating, Greece is a specific and unique case which will not be repeated in the case of other euro area countries. Besides, both Ireland and Portugal are on track in implementing their programs, and these programs help these countries to adjust fiscally and reform their economies towards better foundations for sustainable growth and employment. We are just about to move forward with the next review of the Portuguese program, which is expected to be completed next week. I reserve the right to take a look at the results of the review, but we have currently no plans of such kind of major review as you referred to. Of course, in the context of every review, we adjust the program and we take some, if needed, some further decisions, but within the decision, the original decision on the program financing and its main orientation.
Thank you. One more from the same corner.
Hi, Arthur Beasley from the Irish Times. Commissioner, what would your message be to the Greek authorities and the Greek people in the event that Greek leaders did not implement the programme as they have committed to do? And secondly, what would be the consequences if the Greek economy did not return to growth as foreseen under the plan? Because it is clear that there are risks to the outlook preordained in the plan. Thank you.
It seems to be a day of very hypothetical questions, very theoretical questions. But I trust that the leaders of the Greek coalition partners and main political parties will implement the program. The Greek government will implement the program, and the authorities will cooperate and implement the program. Because it is, even though it is by no means an easy program, but it is the least difficult way for the Greek people, and thus the way that we can over time return to growth and better employment increase, which is needed for the sake of Greek people.
I think going to all right.
Just on Greece again, could you give us a better idea of some more detail on the prior actions that need to be taken before the Council, what kind of actions you're expecting in coming days, and what leverage you have over Greece if there's a bit of slippage there? And secondly, on the two-pack, there was some discussion about which forum is used to handle some of the issues, whether it's the EFC or a kind of committee of the Eurogroup, and what was decided and what was the justification for that?
On the question of the two-pack, the two proposals, then there is a political agreement in the ECOFIN. Of course, a lot of preparatory work have been done in the working committee, but now we can take it from here and go into trialogue with European Parliament. We have had the first informal sort of touchdowns on the two proposals. We don't know exact the time schedule yet, but we hope that we can move it forward during the Danish presidency. And this has been a very sort of swift procedure. I think it's less than 3 months ago the proposals were tabled by the Commission as a response to the summit in October. So I think it's very good, and it's a good sign that ECOFIN can work and make this political agreement on the general approach so soon, because then we can finalize and have all the bricks of the puzzle tabled, and to make sure that the European semester and all the different aspects of it actually work together. Because now we have the six-pack, the two-pack, the fiscal compact, we have the alert mechanism report, the annual growth survey. So we have a lot of mechanisms, a lot of informations, and I think it's very important that they're being processed in the right way now with the input to the European Council next week, and from there that each member country take it and make their convergence programs in order also to take responsibility nationally for structural reform, for consolidation, for growth measures. Because of course we can enhance some of the European European level growth drivers, but we can never achieve a solid and stable European economy without the individual member country actually taking responsibility.
I can only second what Margaret was saying, that it's extremely important that the ECOFIN Council and the Member States are now moving forward in order to adopt the twin pack and thus further supplement the necessary toolbox of reinforcing economic governance in the European Union. in line with the new fiscal compact. And in fact, today's decision was a very significant step in terms of the concrete and practical implementation of the new fiscal compact, which is a profound political commitment to fiscal sustainability, but which needs to be translated by secondary legislation into the concrete action. And to do it in the community method is by far the best way of working. And this is now moving forward, and from the Commission point of view, I can only comment to Council and note take a positive note that we are doing this in line with the community method. As regards the prior actions, the completion of the prior actions, especially the legal implementation by Greece of the previously agreed prior actions, is a necessary condition of the final decision to approve the guarantees for the second program for Greece. This concern, for instance, the decisions taken in order to meet the fiscal targets this year, out of which the remainder of 325 million euros were the last subject of controversy, or the last bone of contention. And there are some other issues, larger and smaller issues. There's a quite long list of prior actions which the Greek government and parliament will have to deal with, including legislative action by the Greek parliament. This will be verified still before the 1st of March, so that we can see that these prior actions have indeed been implemented.
The final question up here.
Thank you. Irita Rzynska, the Polish Press Agency. Mr. Commissioner, I'd like to ask about your reaction on the French-German Green Paper on tax harmonization for companies. And in this context, I'd like to also ask about the progress in the negotiation of the Commission proposal on harmonization of the tax base for companies. Thank you.
It was actually my colleague Algirdas Semeta who is responsible for taxation and who represented the Commission today in this discussion. I had some bilateral meetings during that discussion, or partly during that discussion. I can say that we are in favor of moving with our own proposal on the consolidated and coordinated tax base for consolidated corporate tax base, and in that sense I found today's discussion certainly very useful, although it seemed to be still somewhat inconclusive. I wonder if Mr. Vestiaire wants to comment this question further.
Well, I think one has to be as diplomatic as the Commissioner to say that the discussion was inconclusive, because the debate very much showed that there are different views when it comes to the common consolidated corporate tax base, very much so. So there is a lot of work to do in the working group, but I think that it was very good, because it is quite obvious that there is a huge potential in enabling and simplifying the rules that enterprises cross-border is working under. It's also controversial because then, of course, the next step, even though it's not at all included in the Commission proposal, is, of course, the debate about the level of taxation. But I think that it was important input to the working group that we had a very open and frank debate, and that we could have it on the basis of the Green Paper from Germany and France.
With these words, the press conference is over. Thanks to all of you for coming. Thanks to the Vice President and the Minister for answering the questions. And thanks to the interpreters for interpreting. Have a nice weekend.